Okay, and I believe we can start. So, hello everyone. My name is Inês, and I welcome you to the first R&D session of this year, always powered by EDP New. Let me start by introducing us. We are the Research and Development Center of the EDP Group, and we work on European R&D projects, always looking at innovative solutions for decarbonization, smartification, and flexibility of the energy sector. We have been organizing these R&D sessions since 2020. And the aim of our sessions is to get together experts to discuss several topics regarding the future of energy. Please note that these webinars are recorded and the previous sessions are available on our website. You just need to read the QR code on the slide and you will be able to watch them. I also inform you that this session will be available in our website and YouTube channels in a couple of days. For today's webinar, we want to encourage you to use our chat to ask your questions to our guest speakers. And at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A moment for that. With no further delays, we wish you all a great session, but not without first introducing you our moderator, Alexandre Varela. Alexandre is a mechanical engineer. His 20-year professional path has spread from consultancy to R&D activities, ranging from energy efficiency and indoor environmental quality in buildings to energy planning. For 10 years, Alexandre was the technical director of a regional energy agency, and in 2022, he joined EDP as a project manager in the positive energy communities to manage several H2020 projects while contributing also to the business development and consulting area. Now I give the word to Alexandre. Please, Alexandre.
Thank you very much, Inês, for this introduction, and good afternoon, and thank you again for joining us for this 2024 inaugural R&D session on the very pressing societal challenge of energy poverty. Energy poverty is a complex subject stemming from a combination of economic and energy efficiency conditions. On the economic side, we may be talking about families' income, which can lead us to multiple social topics, including inclusion or energy prices, which can also lead us to a broad range of issues like renewable energy resources, flexibility, and energy independence. Energy poverty can also be just an expression of a wider poverty situation, although it has also been found that there may be people in energy poverty which are not poor. Energy efficiency, namely in buildings, takes also a pivotal role. The issues regarding thermal comfort and poor indoor air quality due to the prevalence of molds are associated with low energy efficiency in buildings, even in mild climates such as the Portuguese one. Lack of thermal comfort and poor indoor air quality can lead to mental and physical problems, even more acutely in vulnerable populations. Thermal comfort is usually associated with winter conditions, but keeping cool is also becoming more and more an issue and a challenge. Global warming, climate change, and increased frequency of extreme climate events shed increasing pressure on energy poverty mitigation. Energy poverty, climate change, adaptation, resilience, energy efficiency, energy transition, policy, and politics. All these are interlacing, but the bottom line is always people. Thank you for bearing me this far, and let's get to the juicier part, which is the presentation by our guest speakers, Vasco Ferreira, Alessia Peluchetti, and Eduardo Moura, whom I once again thank for their availability and the knowledge and insights they're about to share. Please let me remind you once again to feel free to write the questions in the session chat directed to our speakers, as we will address them in the Q&A session after the presentations. So, our first speaker is Vasco Ferreira, and Vasco holds a PhD in Energy and Sustainable Development by the Montfort University in UK, and he started working at the South Gaia Regional Energy Agency and then became research scientist at the Instituto Superior Técnico and was assistant professor at the University of Aveiro. From 2011 to 2022, he worked at the European Commission managing research and innovation programs in energy sustainability and coordinating European energy policies in the Directorate General for Energy. He is currently working in the European Parliament and provides technical and scientific support to its members in formulating energy and climate policies. Vasco, thank you very much for being with us today, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. First of all, thank you very much, EDP New and Alexandre for the invitation, for the kind invitation. So my key, I have two key objectives today. So the first one is really to share the work that we've been doing in the European Parliament Research Service, and to introduce you to this Director General of the European Parliament. Probably some of you don't know, and this service provides support to the members of the European Parliament on a wide range of topics, on all the policy topics that are being discussed at EU level. Then I'll share with you also some insights that I think are relevant for the discussion here today. Some insights from a recent publication from that I published recently, and then discuss with you. The second key objective is really to discuss with you on how all this energy security, climate change, the social dimension are interlinked, and some of the solutions are horizontal, and then discuss with the speakers, with the audience around these issues. So I need to share my screen, right?
Yes,
so
please.
Let me just where is it? Window is this one. Okay, so on the publication, so what I wanted to share with you is it's a publication, recent publication that I did on imagining. It's a 2-pager. It's really simple and very short, but it's imagining if the EU were energy independent. So is it possible that the European Union someday would be energy independent? So I look around to other geographies as well, and see what is happening in terms of policy orientation and policy goals regarding energy security mainly, and also looked at what we are doing at the EU. We've been moving quite fast in the last decade. What I found was that, yes, I think the EU can aspire to go towards energy independence. Of course, that are a lot of different issues around energy independence that need to be taken care of and considered. One of the main ones that I mentioned is the societal challenges associated with the energy transition that we are all aware. The other one is on strategic autonomy. We can go on that later, but it's probably not the topic of today's session. But societal challenges and more the industrial and strategic autonomy issues, which are also linked with all the stuff linking with critical raw materials and all of that. But what I found out and what I discussed in this paper is that there are two main goals if the EU wants to be energy independent. There's two main pathways that need to be covered. One of them is energy efficiency, but associated with electrification. So electrification and energy efficiency hand in hand. And the other one is renewables and energy storage. Of course, that a lot has been done. And there are ambitious targets ahead of us for 2030. Recently, or this week actually, the Commission also proposed new targets for 2040, and we have the 2050 net zero target as well. So a lot is going on. Here, I think that the novelty is the focus on electrification, I think, because it's there in all of these, on all the policy agenda, but sometimes is not probably at the top, and possibly it's something that we would need to consider much more. So have electrification as a strategy. Electrification, when I talk about electrification, is electrification of end uses, so transport, buildings, industrial processes, because if we want, and we know that if we want to decarbonize the economy and to reduce fossil fuel consumption, like in the recent Commission communication for the 2040 target, if we want to reduce fossil fuels by 80% compared with the consumption of 2022, we have to electrify industry, buildings, transport. But actually, we are still far behind in terms of electrification. So in 2021, only 25% of the electricity of the EU energy demand is electricity, in fact. And to get to this, to the decarbonization goals, we need to go to 50-55% electricity share in final energy demand. So it's really we still have some way to go. We have still 16 years, but this requires a lot of investments. On renewables, we know, and we have been doing a lot on this, and Portugal is a front runner. Biomass, onshore wind, hydropower, biofuels and biogas are the bulk of the renewable energy supply. Biomass, wind, and hydropower, probably much more than biofuels and biogas. But again, to decarbonize the energy sector by 2040, again, it's the new vision for 2040. Renewables need to increase from the current share, or 2022 data share of renewables in primary energy of 22% to 65-75% by 2040. So it's really we still also have some way to go there. We're doing a lot, but we need to do more. Solar photovoltaics, we've seen in the last year and a half, a huge growth. But there are other technologies that also need to come online. We need to have much more storage, also because of flexibility issues. We need to have a lot more investment on the grids. We need to have more renewables installed, and possibly offshore wind, geothermal are strategic assets that will be increasingly more important in the coming years. And here, what I found out is that probably something evident, but sometimes it's not always on the back of the policymakers' minds, is that the climate goals can be achieved through this key path. So with energy efficiency, electrification, renewable storage. But at the same time, we can also make the EU more independent in terms of its energy supply, more resilient to gas prices or oil prices shocks, and have a more resilient economy in the end, and more and possibly also more affordable energy supply. And on affordability, I make the link now to the topic of the webinar today. So on actually on the just and fair energy transition. So we have an ongoing energy transition that started some years ago already, and there are some societal challenges associated with this energy transition, because we need to make sure that energy is clean, that of course we meet our environmental targets, but energy also needs to be accessible to people, to business. It needs to be affordable People can heat their homes. Business can function. Industries can be competitive, and ensure that some of the regions or society groups that are most impacted by this shift from fossil fuels to sustainable energy are somehow protected and not left alone. So they need to be somehow. We must not leave anyone behind in this transition. Regarding energy poverty, of course, first of all, I think we need to consider what are the main causes or the main root causes of energy poverty. I think I see mainly three main causes. One, it's a bit outside the scope of energy policy, which is the low income of people. So people with low income will have difficulties, of course, in acquiring energy services. But this is somehow out of scope of an energy policy intervention. Then the other two is they have to do with the efficiency of buildings, of homes, and the energy prices. And here there might be, and there are energy policy interventions that can improve energy efficiency of homes, for example, through electrification. It's one way of doing it. Of course, we can talk also about the investments in the building envelope and all of that. It's part of a package, I would say. But we also need to make sure that energy is accessible to people, and that people, so the less well-off people, so people with less income, can still be part and benefit from the low cost of renewable energy, for example, to have access to be also part of the energy system and participate in the energy system and access to the benefits of the transition. On energy poverty at EU level, a lot has been done and is being done as we speak on energy poverty. That are a lot of initiatives, some more soft initiatives like the Energy Poverty Advisory Hub, which is a website that combines information from the different projects on energy poverty that are funded at EU level, but also national, regional levels. It also compiles a lot of information on indicators, on different data, case studies. So there's a wealth of information there in this Energy Poverty Advisory Hub. It's funded by DG Energy of the European Commission. And of course, there are a lot of more, hard, let's say, or legal initiatives regarding energy poverty. So legislative initiatives on energy poverty. And here, I'm not going into the details. You probably know them all. We have, provisions on energy poverty, on the regulation, on the governance of the energy union, on the electricity market regulation, on the energy efficiency directive, on the DPBD, on buildings, building renovation targets. So
I'm sorry, Vasco,
yes,
for interrupting you, but just please do 1 or 2 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Just for keeping the timing.
I think, my last slide is the last. My next slide is the last. Yes. So there's a lot of legislative initiatives. And here I would just point out to this briefing that we prepared in the European Parliament Research Service that compiles all, does a kind of overview of the different legislative initiatives around energy poverty. And I would end, see if I can change the slide. Okay, so I would end just with some ideas for discussion with you on innovative solutions. Some of them are not really new or innovative, but solutions to tackle energy poverty. So renovation of buildings, I think, is favoring efficiency and air quality, like Alexandre was mentioning. Is really we need to have ambitious programs for building renovation and target the people that live in the worst performing buildings, which are usually the people with the lower incomes. Energy communities, engage more with people, to have energy communities that engage people that are more vulnerable and that are more prone to suffer from or to pay for the energy bills. They have less income and less information on how to save and how to have renewables in their homes. Electrification, I think, here is really a key, should be a key goal, and energy poverty needs to be addressed at local level. So here, these campaigns need to be done at local level. And electrification, we've seen in Portugal and in many other countries in the EU, the most expensive form of energy is bottled gas. So it's really and natural gas in general. So we need to make sure that people have affordable energy services, and one way of doing it is through electrification. Literacy, energy literacy programs, a lot is also being done on this, but I think a lot needs to be done in addition. And new business models. We've seen energy cooperatives, revolving funds, pay-as-you-go schemes, but at local level, at city level, even probably at district level, we need to have much more engagement on and use of new approaches, innovative approaches to engage and have social policy interventions together with energy policy interventions, because not all of we can't tackle energy poverty only from the energy angle. There's also a social element that is very strong, and the engagement of communities and district level I mentioned. So I'll leave it here, and looking forward for the discussion. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Vasco. This was very interesting from a very high level question and issue like independence to the local level. So thank you very much. And going through a lot of technology pillars, which we also do R&D new. This was a very interesting presentation. But
thank you.
Now we will go to Alessia. Alessia Peluchetti is our next speaker. And Alessia holds a master's degree in building engineering from the University of Brescia. And Alessia is working as a project manager in RINA Consulting, where she is managing different EU projects related to energy efficiency, smart cities, climate neutrality, and urban regeneration. She is the coordinator of Eyes, Hearts, Hands project and the Tips for PED project, who has just started. Alessia, it's a pleasure. It has been a pleasure working with you in the Eyes, Hearts, Hands project, and thank you for coming. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much first of all, for inviting me and for the nice words, Alexander. So I will share the screen.
Yes, please.
And let me know if you can see my presentation.
Yes.
All right. So yes, as you said, I'm here representing RINA Consulting, and I'm the coordinator of this Eyes, Hearts, Hands project, which will be the focus of my presentation today, and of the Tips for PED project. And in RINA, I work for the Energy Innovation Strategic Center, so I'm mainly involved in European projects. So just maybe later on I will type the link of the project in the chat. So if you would like to know more, please follow us online. And just a brief overview about what is RINA. RINA Consulting is a multinational company with more than 5,000 people involved and 200 offices across 70 different countries, and we are involved really in different sectors: energy, marine, certification, infrastructure, industry, and the real estate. And we are really a big player within the research and development and innovation at European level. Indeed, we have more than 100 projects ongoing, and we have been ranked as the second top industrial player participant in Horizon 2020. So, as I said, today I would like to focus on the Ice Her Hands project, and I'm really happy actually, Vasco, to see that a lot of the points you pointed out within your presentation are included in what we are doing. So probably we are going towards, let's say, the same direction. So. Few more info about the project. The project is one of the new European Bauhaus projects, which is for the ones that don't know what it is. The European Bauhaus is a movement promoted by the European Commission that is aiming to build our future based on 3 different principles, which are sustainability, inclusion, and beautiful. So the project started in October 2022, and it's going to last until September 2025. And you can see, as you can see, there is quite a big consortium, and also EDP is part of it. And to talk about what are our objectives, and in line with also today's topic, our objective is to let's say promote a just transition, a revolution at the urban level, a renovation of the urban level, in line with the methodology that we call Ice Her Hands methodology, that we think has a really high potential. And the idea is to, and I would like actually to add to what Vasco said, that indeed I completely agree that 2 main points to reach our goal for decarbonization is electrification and renewables, but I will also would like to add a third point, which is really the focus of this project, which is citizens, because we need really to use a bottom-up approach and to start engaging citizens, not just to engage them, but to include citizens are key players in what we are doing if we want to reach our goal. And the methodology, the idea is to test the methodology within 7 different lighthouses, considering and implementing solution at 3 main different levels, from the technology point of view, the social point of view, and finally the financial point of view, so building new business models and funding schemes. And here we have an overview about the different lighthouses that we have involved within the project. And as you can see, we have they are really spread across Europe, because indeed it's really important to start from the local overview, from the district, and we cannot find a global solution for Europe, but each city has its, and each district has its own particular, let's say, critical point and strength. So we really need to start from there and to identify the solution. So testing our methodology within 7 different cities, we think is really a good way of testing what we are doing. And included already in the name of the project, I would say that the project, there are 3 main pillars within what we are doing. And those pillars are Ice, Earth, Hands. Ice, because of course we want, is a project that is aiming to renovate urban districts. So we want to make, align with the NEB principle, our district beautiful. So we want to make them from the aesthetic point of view, nice, but also we want also to renovate them considering the local context, so including also preserving the heritage context that is already there. And we want also to make those districts acceptable from the social point of view. Then we want to, the second pillar is the hearts pillar, which is really connected to today's topic. And the hearts pillar is aiming to create this urban environment, create inclusive and socially fair urban environment involving the communities. And finally, the third pillar, which is HAND, which is aiming to creating and reaching our goal together. We need to act together, hand by hand. So a few more information about the heart pillar, which is aiming to transform, to achieve a urban transformation socially fair. The heart pillar revolves around four main aspects, and connected to energy poverty, especially there are 2 points here, and one is the implementation of energy solidarity approaches. We will see them, such as, for example, energy communities, which will help to reduce the energy poverty, and the involvement of citizens to co-design their neighborhoods. And from the energy solidarity point of view, indeed, citizen energy communities might be, or also renewable, actually, energy communities might be a really nice solution, because they give the power to the community members to make that decision about their energy. They using these citizen energy communities, the prices will be lower for the citizens, and then we will be able to create a better balance also in the energy system. And of course, there is an important point, that is how to fund these solutions, but this is one of the aspects we are studying within the project. And for example, these type of solutions to reduce the energy poverty, we are going to test them in 3 different lighthouses. So Denmark, Italy with the citizen energy communities, and for example, also Portugal with the renewable energy community. And the second point, again connected to the how to reduce energy positive, is to include the citizen within what we are doing. And when I say include, doesn't just mean that they are informed about what we are doing, but they are the key player, and I will say that they are empowered, and they have the final, let's say, power to take the final decision about the place where they live. So to do this, we are really creating a lot of co-design activities, and we are co-design, and what we are doing is co-design from different point of view, from the technology point of view, financing point of view, and also from the aesthetical point of view. And moreover, the involvement of citizens will help to reduce energy positivity, because it will increase the energy literacy of the residents, and this will bring to have to them to adopt more efficient behaviors, and this will help to mitigate the energy poverty. And this approach, for example, will be tested again in Portugal, in Croatia, and in Italy as well. So I would like to conclude just with a more deep overview about one of the 7 lighthouses, which is actually the Portuguese lighthouse, the city of Maia. And in this context, we have the Sobreio Social Housing District, which is in the heart of Maia, and consists of 47 structures overall. And the idea is indeed to co-design with citizens the district where they live. And as you can see in this slide, well, on the top left, you see the district. So it's this area, and in particular, we will focus on a small part of the district in which we will test our solutions, our methodology, and the idea will be then to scale up also in other parts of the cities. But in the bottom left picture, you can see some of the activities that involves the citizen to co-design the place where they live. And yeah, I think it's actually yeah, it's mainly all from my side. I would just like to focus on the fact that it's not true that you know, these type of topics and the renovate district and engineering, let's say, solutions are too far away for people, because it's of course a matter of communication, and it's really important to identify how to approach them. But if you do and you try to connect with them, you will see, and this is what we are seeing within our project, that you will have a really nice feedback. So that's all from my side, and here you can find some information. If you would like to hear more about the project, don't hesitate to contact us. And if you would like to have more information also about the Maya Lighthouse, I'm sure that our colleagues from ADP will be able to provide you much more meaningful information, let's say. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Alessia. This is really a people-centric project, so thank you very much for bringing this insight to us. Our next speaker is Eduardo Moura, and Eduardo is our closing speaker, and as it is our internal speaker, I took the liberty to prepare some questions to be asking to Eduardo. But first, I will introduce Eduardo to you. Eduardo is a senior ESG advisor at the EDP Group, and is particularly involved in the areas of supplier management, strategy, human rights, social investments, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. He has previously studied economics at ISEG and worked in food retail, publishing, and media. Eduardo, I would please like to get your insights on some topics, if you don't mind. So I would start by asking you that I know that in 2020 EDP asked ISEG to carry out a study on energy poverty in Portugal. What public policies did the researchers recommend or came out of this study? Could you please help us get some insights on that?
Thank you. Now you are listening. Yeah.
Yes, good. Yes, perfect, Eduardo.
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, it's a big story. I will go through it in a very simplified manner. Okay, but the tricky question that time was about is it enough to have a social tariff to tackle energy poverty? This was the question. Okay.
Yes.
Years ago in Portugal, we had just the social tariff to cover the problem. Okay, but for people, well, that looked with deep thoughts on the question, providing money, it's very good. It helps mitigating the problem, but really, the impact, the long-term impact, we cannot see it. Okay, so we raised the question to the team in the ISEG, and they developed a deep study on the topic, and we acknowledge that first conclusion, we don't have enough data to have specific policies to address the problem. Okay, sure. You have high-level data, economic data, but as we can understand, a house in Trás-os-Montes requires different conditions, building conditions, when comparing to a house in Algarve. Okay, and the data we have in Portugal is not enough to really detail and combine the 3 points, Alexandre, that we raised early in your early presentation. One is poverty, energy poverty depends on income, the living people income, the energy prices, as well the quality of the building. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the conclusion from the study was that in Portugal, the quality, the building quality is so low that we need to rebuild a lot. Okay, we need to put a lot of capital to change the buildings. Okay, just to reduce the need of energy. Okay, and for Portugal, this is the reason why Vasco's slide show Portugal with a almost red color, okay, comparing to Sweden. Okay, so
Yes,
we
yes,
need
sure.
to change the buildings. It's not only about the energy side, the consumption is about reducing the need of an energy to get enough thermal comfort. Okay, so this is a huge problem, and almost 75 or more buildings in household buildings in Portugal are, let's say, under the minimum level of energy efficiency. So the second question was what are the countries doing about this? And
Yes.
we learned that the majority of the countries have a bulk, a cluster of measures, not only a single measure. Okay, and measures, a couple of them tackling, let's say, winter challenges, providing regulation to support people on the coldest days, till investment on windows, insulation measures, etc. So we understood that in Portugal we had the need for new policies, measures, and specific strategic approaches. So lesson learned on that. The final question that I selected from the huge study was we need a financial system to support a mechanism, a financial mechanism to support the change. Of course, we will have subsidies, okay? Mainly, they should be oriented to tackling poverty, energy poverty. But apart that, we need a mechanism, market mechanism, to facilitate the investment on energy efficiency measures, windows, facade insulations, rooftop insulations, and so on, to buy equipment, efficient equipment, and to switch from gas to renewable energy, and so on. You need so a mechanism to raise capital, to make the investment, and then to pay back a longer period of time. And we don't have the mechanism. Okay, and
Okay.
this is a major question, and we still need to work on that. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that, Eduardo. Indeed, the policies have taken a long time to pick up, but we are starting to see the results, and probably some of them are the result of this study done in 2020. And you raised a very interesting question, which is the refurbishment of buildings, the need for further energy efficiency. And I would like to ask you, as EDP, as electricity companies are not in the refurbishing buildings business, what kind of contribution do you think they can make to reducing energy poverty?
Yeah, that's an open question, not completely open. But
Yeah.
of course, in terms of education, we can do the job, mobilizing the society and our customers and so on the building aspect. But we have a stream for equipment and systems. Okay, we have opportunities when dealing with all the building, all the habitants of the building, and not tackling only each customer. So we have opportunities, but they are based on equipment, efficient equipment, and changing equipment, and they are based in another topic, I may say, which is about the price mechanism. Okay, with renewable energy, we can change the pricing, not the pricing of the grids, not about that, and the grids are very relevant on this, but the price of energy. Just to give you one idea, more or less, the social tariffs pays for the equivalent to a megawatt each year. Okay, each family each year. A megawatt can come from half megawatt with the same price from one panel. Okay, so we have in our hands now different technologies that have a lot of impact on the final price, and we have the opportunity to create new systems, meaning new grids, small grids, community grids, local grids that can lower or at least normalize in the long term the energy price, and that will give the opportunity to lower the poverty. Okay, but everybody's working on this, and we are very dependent on regulation. And regulation is not already set or is not so efficient as we wish. Okay.
Of course, yes. That's for sure. We can have something to do with pushing this technology out that will help the energy poverty mitigation. But there is also another question.
Let me give you an example. Let's move away from urban concentrations, because this is the typical situation in Portugal. 75% of our households are single family households with nice roofs and so on. When we come to village, it's concentrated village, old village with very elderly people, I believe the solution is not to put a module on the rooftop or two modules on each rooftop. I believe it will be to concentrate 2 or 3 rooftop modules plus every neighbor, okay, sure, in a single spot. That will give room to efficient maintenance and to delivering the energy when the energy is needed by the people. So we need to think differently about the connection between the retailer, the energy retailer, and the final consumer. Yes, because probably we can develop local final consumers, and that will improve very much the way we can tackle the energy poverty problem.
Yes, for sure. And the one thing you also talked about is regarding the tariffs and energy prices. This is surely an issue in energy poverty, but I think there is still another issue that we are maybe is going parallel to energy poverty, which is access to energy. This is not such a question in Europe, but in Africa we still have 650 million people that still have no access to electricity. How do you see this question regarding the access to energy service that comes from this?
Yeah, because as EDP, we have a policy on energy poverty and access to energy and just transition. We also develop some projects outside of our market. Okay, it's not mandatory; it's voluntary, and we go to Africa. I'm giving you an example with an access to energy fund, funding local projects in communities without access to electricity. Okay, and then we are learning how to build up small grids, how to share the value of the electricity with people, how to connect it with real impact, local impact. Okay, so we are learning, but the point I will take from you, if you don't mind, is in the world, looking around the world, well, we have 750 people without access to the grid. Okay, the major part is in Africa. Okay, but imagine how many people in the world are poor, energy poor. Okay, so we can imagine that we have a huge problem worldwide facing the climate challenge that puts more stress on this. Okay, and again, as we are evolving to electrification in our countries, we can discover new new ways of energy poverty. For instance, when you think about electric vehicles, asking for power to fuel the vehicles, we can identify a new origin of discrimination or energy poverty, because poor people really cannot afford to buy an electrical vehicle or to pay electricity for the vehicles at the market price. Okay. As well, they don't have money to invest on efficient equipment or insulation, building insulation. So our big question at EDP is we really, as companies in the utility sector, we don't have the solution, okay, but you have the vision. And the vision for us is downstream, decentralized energy, local energy, built up by local authorities, ONGs, neighbors, and so on. Okay,
Perfect.
That's the perspective, and what we are trying to build that, but we are in the early stages.
Thank you very much for that, Vasco. Thank you very much. We should have a lot more time to speak because we should get to very interesting solutions. But I will now go to the Q&A from our audience. And actually, I have a question for Vasco. And the question is, thank you, Vasco, for the presentation. In light of the grassroots nature of energy communities, which operate at the local level and require coordinated efforts within specific contexts, how can these communities be effectively mobilized and leveraged as a means to combat energy poverty? Are there particular strategies or models that have shown promising in empowering energy communities to address the needs of vulnerable populations and ensure equitable access to affordable energy resources?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Sorry,
Can I also
Alexandre,
touch
can you
upon...
cut? Questions, okay.
Yes.
It was about the slides.
So can I also touch upon other things that Eduardo and Alessia mentioned? And
yes, please.
Together, I'll try to reply to your question. So first of all, I wanted to talk about social tariffs. So I agree that probably they are not the solution to fully address the problem in the long term, the energy poverty issue. But on the other hand, we need to make sure that the vulnerable consumers can benefit from the free market and the internal energy market and the electricity markets. So we need to make sure that they can access to the cheapest electricity, and probably they don't know how to do it. So there should be a way of helping them access flexible tariffs, for example. Because now I'm on a flexible tariff in my home in Portugal, and I'm paying very, very little when comparing with what the commercial or the regulated tariff. So vulnerable consumers, social tariffs might not be the answer. I tend to agree, or not the only answer, let's say, but we need to make sure that consumers access benefit from the market. Then on buildings inefficient, fully agree. We need to renovate much more. Linking with your question, Alexandre, I think we need to involve. We need to work at city level. This example that Alessia brought with the Bauhaus in Maya, it's excellent. I think we need to, multiply this by 1,000, a million, because we need this type of community engagement and involvement in all the cities or villages, because only by doing that we'll be able, to engage with people, raise awareness, renovate buildings, integrate renewables, and all that. On utilities role, Here, I see in Europe some utilities having a role in renovation, in the building renovation area. So I think it also depends on how the Energy Efficiency Directive is implemented and how member states use it. But in Germany, in Brussels, for example, I've been offered by my utility to install insulation on my house, and they would do everything, and I would just pay a monthly pay the investment monthly, so very easy to do. We can also this is a kind of the carrot. We can also use the the other more hard approach of the stick, and for example also in Brussels, what Brussels City will transpose the directive, so the region, Brussels region, transpose the EPB directive in a way that in 10 years, all the buildings that have an EPC class, so energy performance certificate lower than G, will not be able to be sold or rented. So they're also hard. We need a combination of policies. And finally, also to address your issue, I think local action is really important. These integrated approaches are really the way forward. They are difficult. They are time consuming. I'm not so sure that the financing is not there. I know that in the past there were programs also using structural funds, but also EIB loans for building renovation that didn't have a lot of uptake in Portugal and elsewhere. So I'm not fully sure that the issue is money. I think what we need probably is more, integrated approaches, different stakeholders and utilities as well. They are part of the solution, talking to each other, the municipalities and the local communities, really coming together and addressing the issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Vasco. We have another question by João Dias to Alessia.
Actually, before, just one
yes.
comment about what Vasco just said, that in Italy we had this funding scheme for a few years for which you were able to renovate for free your house, and actually there was the percentage of persons who decided to apply for this were really low, and this is just because again there is I completely agree that it's not just about a matter of money, because it's also especially about a matter of trust, and we need to find a way to make the communities and the people that live in our district to trust what we are doing and what we would like to do within the place where they live.
Yes, it's true.
May I just a comment on this, Alexandre? Because
please, Eduardo.
We are approaching the real issue. When we can speak about energy efficiency in general. When we deep dive on energy efficiency for energy poor people, that's the subject today. We have financial issues, of course we have, and we have technical issues, because we have landowners that are not poor, okay, and people renting the houses that have a low condition of the building, cannot afford to pay higher rent, and so on and so on. So the initial point I raised about the quality of the data, the detail of the data is rather relevant to define the policies. That's the major question. Okay, for instance, people living in urban spots or in rural spots completely changes the policies. Okay, so I raised this question. We need to really tackle specific situation, because the high-level approach is not sufficient.
Yes,
to help us.
It's not one size fits all, right?
Right, of course not.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Actually, we are getting to the end of our session, so I will be asking to our speakers if they would be so kind as to please reply to any question you might have the possibility to do in the chat. And I once again thank you all for this very interesting and fulfilling R&D session, and I hope to meet you again very soon in the next very exciting R&D session. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much to the presenters once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much.
much. Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye. Very interesting.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.